boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. We now know a lot more about the Taylor versus Serrano 3 undercard. All of the undercard bouts, and all of them intriguing, all of them competitive. The one I want to talk about here and now is the one between Chantel Camara and Canada's own Jessica Camara. The Chantel Camaron's WBC interim super lightweight title, the interim title that would line up the winner for the winner of Taylor vs. Serrano 3. Chantel Camara, a very vibrant and strong 34 years old, to Jessica Camara, who is a very resilient 37. Both fighters are orthodox fighters. Chantel sports a professional record of 20 wins with 1 loss, no draws, 8 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 21 professional bouts, and her lone defeat is to Katie Taylor, who she herself beat, and they have unfinished business. To Jessica Camara, who sports a professional record of 14 wins with 4 losses, 1 draw, 3 knockouts, having been knocked out 2 times in 19 professional bouts. A seasoned veteran, seasoned fighter who's been in there with anyone from Melissa St. Ville to Heather Hardy to Kaylee Reese to Carla Zamora. In more recent years, Caroline Dubois. She's coming off that pasting in the Caroline Dubois fight. That fight was at 135. This one will be at 140, and I expect this fight to look like that one. I give it a few rounds before Jessica Camara is completely overwhelmed by the aggression, the spite, and the spice, the power of Chantel Camara, who still is one of my favorite fighters. Still one of the best fighters in the sport without a full title. Still one of the best fighters all around. Cameron. Best way to describe Jessica Camara is as a good, well-rounded boxer and experienced, though not big on power, not the most durable. I'd say her career highlights are wins over Heather Hardy and her win as the away fighter against the then unbeaten Hyun Mi Choi in South Korea. Those are 2 of her best career performances, as well as her performance in the Kaylee Reese fight that some people felt she should have won. When it comes to Chantel, we all know what her career best win is, the win over Katie Taylor. Chantel Camaron's resume has become quite deep over the years. A win over an amateur standout in Adriana Araujo, a former champion in Victoria Bustos, Jessica McCaskill, Katie Taylor, former champion Patricia Bergult, and now she will be adding the name of Jessica Camara to that collection. It's the first look, but I have Chantel winning the fight. For me, it's just a question of whether or not Chantel stops her, whether or not Chantel knocks her out, because she does have the power to do so and the temperament. The only reason Jessica didn't get knocked out in her last fight is as a result of a clash of heads that opened up a cut, resulting in the fight being stopped prematurely and ruled a no contest. But Caroline Dubois was well on her way to stopping Jessica Camara just a few rounds into their fight. And that fight wasn't that long ago. It could be the exact same situation here with Chantel. You like saying Chantel, don't you? I do. It rolls off the tongue. It's a delicious name for a delicious fighter, a talented fighter who I think is going to beat Jessica Camara from pillar to post. Solid opponent for a stay busy fight. Solid opponent for her most valuable promotions debut. It will be entertaining, but like I said, I give it a few rounds before Chantel takes over and takes control, overpowers Jessica Camara. At minimum, I've got Chantel winning a decision. That's the conservative prediction.
Two things, Oscar. First off, the rematch with Ryan and Devin, can you give us any update? Is that the direction you guys want to go now?
No, that's not the direction we want to go. Zero whatsoever. So I actually, I'm going to sit down with Ryan. I sat down with him already.
Yeah.
And he's in great spirits. We're actually looking forward to the future. And we're just going to nail down exactly what the plans are going to be and just, put it in play.
You guys thinking maybe a rematch with Rolly?
Well, as a fighter, speaking to you as a fighter, not a promoter, that's exactly what I would do.
Hey, Oscar, so why no more rematches? Because of the loss? Or
I know I'm retired.
You guys are trying to build up to another fight?
Rematch.
It'd be hard to go back
Devin
to
and
all
Ryan.
that on weekends. Oh, you okay?
Oh, but it just doesn't merit a rematch. I don't think it really.
It's fine.
I mean,
Thank you. There are days I miss it.
Devin
but
actually lost, winning, his stock is super down. I mean, everybody's talking. I'm just stating facts here. People are talking about, him just being a runner, like not a boxer. There's something about a boxer like Pernell Whitaker, like Maldrick Taylor, like Sweet Pea, those are boxers, beautiful. This guy's a runner. Why would I want to see that? Right?
He's just a wonderful human.
Oscar De La Hoya very careful with his choice of words. He makes it seem as if Devin is the reason the rematch with Ryan isn't happening. As if Devin is the only reason the rematch is no longer a hot ticket and it's lost all its momentum. It's not just Devin. I mean, as bad as Devin's performance was, and it was bad, he's not the reason the rematch isn't happening. It's because of Ryan. It's because Ryan couldn't beat Rolly. Where do you go from there? If you can't beat Rolly Romero, who can you beat? Well, he beat Devin, didn't he? The Austrian is what beat Devin. That and playing around with the weight. Where Devin was a professional and came in at the contracted 140 pounds, he made the weight. Ryan made it a point not to, so that on the night of the fight, he'd have more in the tank. There is a dramatic difference between the Ryan Garcia that fought Devin Haney and the Ryan Garcia that we saw a few weeks ago in there with Rolly. And the difference is no Austrian. Rigorous testing. More rigorous than anything at Golden Boy. Now they want to rehabilitate him. I can't see them bringing Ryan back up to full steam without the Austrian, without the juice. Put simply, they've got to get him back on it. Ryan was never all that good a fighter. Never all that good a boxer. I'm sorry if that's harsh, but there's no nice way for me to say that. I've never been a big proponent of his boxing. At the very most, Ryan was a good physical specimen. Tall for the weight, long for the weight, fast and strong. But in terms of nuts and bolts boxing, he was never that good. So he can't fall back on his skill. And what little skill he had has deteriorated over time. I think that Ryan, as a fighter, has regressed. The best I've ever seen him was, 4 or 5 years ago in the Luke Campbell fight. He was with Eddie Reynoso back then. I think he's still with Derek James now. I'm not sure. Bitch. He's never that good a boxer. How many times do I gotta tell you? The only reason that Ryan came into the public eye wasn't because of a fight that he had or somebody that he beat or a belt that he won. It's because he had a bunch of Instagram followers. He doesn't have skill to fall back on. Discipline. So, to rehabilitate him, you've got to get him back on the juice, and you've got to make sure that no one tests him. If you're Oscar De La Hoya and your Golden Boy Promotions, you get him back on the sauce and keep him out of title fights. What? Fights where there's going to be anti-doping testing. You have to keep him out of those because he's nothing without his gear. He's nothing without his juice. What kind of guy can't make it past Rolly Romero? You gotta get him back on the juice, and you gotta get him that Rolly Romero rematch. He needs it. The problem there is, Rolly's got options. Rolly doesn't have to fight Ryan again. Rolly can go back to PBC Island and wait out the winner of Barrios versus Pacquiao. You don't think those conversations have already happened now that Rolly's coming off a career best win over Ryan? That they can do their own thing with no Turkey LL Sheik, no Saudi, no Ring Magazine. They can put Rolly in the ring with the winner of that fight. Rolly doesn't need Ryan. It didn't take Karma long to pay Ryan Garcia a visit, because now he finds himself in the exact same position that Devin did last year. Devin was at Ryan's mercy to get a rematch. Now Ryan is at Rolly's mercy to get a rematch, and if he can't get it, stock took a critical hit. Nobody has any illusions about him now. He wasn't a world champion at 135. That never happened, and it didn't happen at 140. We know it's not going to happen at 147. Look at him. Who is he going to win a belt from? Forget about Boots Ennis. Forget about Brian Norman. His best bet would have to be Mario Barrios, but I think Rolly's got first dibs on that guy.
Ryan is a bitch.
Well, that's a little bit lowbrow. I'd say that Ryan is nowhere near the fighter he was made out to be by the American journos, the American pundits, and anyone who qualified his victory over Devin, which is seeming more and more like a fluke or the byproduct of banned substances. They want to rehabilitate Ryan. Golden Boy can find him a couple of nobodies, a couple of scrubs to keep busy with and get back in the winner's bracket. But as soon as he steps up again,
Rolling was a step up?
apparently because Ryan couldn't make it past him. Without his juice, Ryan is nothing.
Karma came a-knocking, and Ryan answered the door. You've got a package.
I don't know that Ryan can come back from this. I don't know that he has the mental fortitude, the desire to compete, the desire to be a fighter, which I always felt he was lacking. That he wanted to be an influencer more than he wanted to be a boxer.
Personally, I think he should bow out. I think he should hang the gloves up.
Reevaluate his career path. Maybe open up an OnlyFans, so some of those weirdos online who were defending him the whole time have something to watch and rub one out to. Their fixation with Ryan had very little to do with his boxing. Put simply, they were just physically attracted to him. So open up an OnlyFans for those legions of
Perverts.
I don't think Ryan should box anymore. Lackluster showings have given rise to a question as to whether or not money has ruined both Ryan and Devin's careers.
Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney have been accused of losing their hunger, raising questions over whether their boxing purses have impacted their mindsets. Garcia and Haney recently secured some of the biggest purses in the sport, but have not shown the best form. They faced off against each other in April of 2024 in a fight that captivated the boxing public. Garcia secured a majority decision win after he dropped Haney 3 times in a major upset. However, the result was overturned to a no contest once Ryan failed VADA tests for aspirin. The fight earned Garcia a reported $50 million, while Haney picked up an alleged $35 million. I question those numbers, but that's what the reports say.
Did making all that money ruin Ryan's mindset? I don't think so, because he never had the right mindset to begin with. Remember that this is the guy who said he doesn't care about fighting for titles. He doesn't care about fighting for belts. What kind of language is that from a young unbeaten fighter who's just coming up?
This was well before he made any real money from boxing. Before the Gervonta Davis fight, before the Haney fight,
Before the Rolly Romero fight. The fallout from that fight set up the narrative for an even bigger rematch, provided that they came through their fights. Garcia faced Rolly Romero in a bout where he was expected to come through easily. Reports indicated that he secured a purse close to $20 million. The fight did not play out the way that he wanted, as Ryan was dropped in the second round. After that moment, he refused to engage with Romero as he lost a unanimous decision. Haney returned to face Jose Ramirez in his first fight since the Garcia no contests. Reports indicate that he earned a $10 million purse. While Haney secured a unanimous decision win, his performance was heavily criticized. The fight was the 5th lowest ever recorded on CompuBox in terms of punches landed. There were a total of 110 punches landed, with Haney landing 70 while Ramirez landed 40. Haney received a lot of backlash, especially since he had teamed up with Shane Mosley before the fight to increase his punching power. The Haney-Garcia rematch is not certain to take place. Given that both of their brands have been damaged from their previous performances, Eddie Hearn simply felt the two fighters had earned so much money that they were no longer in the right frame of mind to fight for legacy. I think it's impossible to have the same warrior mindset when you've made a load of money and now you live in that 10-bedroom house, mansion, and you've got 3 Ferraris. The fighters are like, I don't really want a war. Why would I want a war? No thank you. Ryan is a million miles away from fighting for a world title at the moment, especially coming off a defeat.
I don't expect Eddie to keep up with every statement that every fighter makes. He's a busy man. But perhaps he doesn't remember that Ryan never wanted to fight for a title. I mean, we're talking about years ago when he said he doesn't care about fighting for belts, that belts don't matter.
So where you think that because he lost to Rolly, he's a million miles away from fighting for a title, he was always a million miles away from fighting for a title. If he wanted to fight for a title, he wouldn't have blown the weight in the Devin Haney fight. What I'm getting at is he was never that kind of fighter. And that's not because of the money.
Because he was already that way before he made any money.
You'll probably see him disappear at some point, go on and do a bit of acting or chill out in California somewhere and just enjoy. Sometimes the game takes their love away. Ryan is probably in that spot where it's like, I've had so much shit, I don't even like boxing anymore, but obviously it's great money, so what's next? Devin is there now, and Devin was never there. He was all about the belts, all about achievements. Then I think the Ryan fight really disheartened him, the whole experience, and I think now he just thinks, I couldn't care less about belts. Let me just make my money and then I'm done. That's what makes you deteriorate as a fighter.
Ryan has been charting a course to exit the sport of boxing for at least 4 or 5 years now. Before he made any real money, he said he wanted to retire from the sport by age 26, 27.
I don't think it's accurate to say that money is what ruined Ryan, because Ryan's heart was never in it. Now with Devin, it is a little different, because it is true. He was about legacy, he was about belts, and money. The experience last year, being mocked.
You get beat by this guy, then it comes out that he was doping, and everybody tries to make it your fault. People are turning on you.
The New York State Athletic Commission overturns the decision to a no contest, but people are still laughing at you. Images of you with a pee stain in your trunks from the Ryan Garcia fight are all over the place. They're making memes about you.
You're humiliated.
I do think in part that disheartened him, but when so much of who you are as a fighter is predicated on emulating someone else, you're always doomed to fail.
For how many years has Devin been cosplaying Floyd?
It's not the same confidence. The confidence you have in yourself, just being yourself, as opposed to being confident that you're the closest thing to Floyd.
Well, that's not even confidence. That's just a false sense of security. And in that way, if you go about your career that way, you're always doomed to fail. Because you're not being you. You're trying to be him.
Money has its role to play too. Devin Haney was making well in excess of what he's worth and well in excess of what his fights generate as a result of DAZN's entry into the American market. He was one of many fighters that they overpaid to cultivate American talent on their platform. He benefited from that.
Made a lot of money on DAZN, more on Top Rank.
It's not that the money ruined him, it's that it made the situation difficult. Because ideally, after that Ryan Garcia fight, he should have had a tune-up after that, a confidence builder. The reason he didn't.
Money.
This guy wants so much money every time he fights, it's difficult to get him out there. And because he's a free agent, nobody's obligated to. Not Top Rank, not Matchroom. You're expecting people to pay through the nose. For a fighter that's made no commitment to them, good luck. He lost all that time. You lost to Ryan way back there in April. You had the whole rest of the year to come back.
If you didn't, it's because you want too much money. So money didn't ruin his mindset, but it did stifle his career in a way.
Tell you the truth, they could both retire right now, and I wouldn't bat an eyelash.
I wouldn't lose a wink of sleep over it.
George O'Connor here, big up Julius, Ring IQ, welcome to the mother reader.
To my homeland of Ireland, where the grass is green and the skies are blue. What I do to be back home in Ireland, I can't be there now, but it's where I found you. Moving away